Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Must Play. Had a few technical difficulties there. Apologies.
So if you were quick to click onto the Must Play stream, you would have heard us trying to get organised.
Yeah.
We were struggling. You would have heard the struggle was real.
We were a little bit late this week because we had a couple of things. We were trying to squeeze in an interview to bring you all the latest and greatest in tech, film, video games, frankly, anything we want to talk about. If you haven't become accustomed to what this is just yet, this is the Must Play podcast. We stream every Wednesday night live from 8 o'clock-ish. I've got Julian Price and Dave Fishpether next to me.
Today.
Hey.
Sorry, everyone.
And why don't we just dive right into it to get us off on a good foot. I mean, we had the Melbourne eSports Open this weekend that just passed. I was super hype about that. We had a lot of people go down, in excess of 12,000 people in person. More than 500,000 people watched online. But we just got a bit of a taste of what's to come in Melbourne's esports scene. And the big reason we want to chat about this is it's going to be a permanent installation at Emporium, Jules.
It's massive. It's 2,700 square foot.
We got some video here
of gaming, like crazy gamingness.
So big.
Is this footage or what have
Yeah, no, maybe click it.
I did click it. We're on it.
Maybe click the actual...
It's a sweet frozen frame, but
Is
you
this
can really see the space that is available at Fortress.
Oh, Jules, what have you
That's
done
right.
to me?
We've done an interview, and we're
Yes.
going to put it up with with the CEO and co-founder,
Oh,
John
this has been a
Satterley.
nightmare.
I don't know. I don't know why that happened.
Bring back Meso.
Oh!
We need Meso on the tools to help us through this. But Fortress Melbourne, which is going to be set up at Emporium.
Emporium, in the heart of the city, so it's going to have over 160 gaming PCs, consoles, dedicated streaming pods, RPG and tabletop gaming play areas. It's got function rooms, a fully functioning restaurant.
Well, we spoke to John Satterley, and he said one of his big things is making sure that sticky food items are not on the menu.
Yes.
To make sure that anyone wanting to touch those
It's funny
controllers...
that was going through my head. I'm like, how are they going to keep across
buffalo,
this?
No buffalo wings.
No.
Which I was like, man, that's such a good game.
The greasy food is a no-no.
That's how you know it's going to be a success. Because as a CEO, he's thought about the little details. And he gets
He's
it.
across it. He really is.
Look, we did an interview with John. It was an audio-only interview. We're going to edit that up so it looks nice and pretty and then bring that to you, hopefully, during the week. I'm really excited. I think it'll be great for Melbourne's esport community. And
Can I also just say,
Yeah.
it's got 2 bars.
Yeah, that's great. Man, it's like you never need to leave this place.
2 bars!
when he said that, I thought, this is a little bit like Crown Casino. You know how it's like,
totally is.
there's going to be no windows because it's got to be dark to play video
You're going to
games.
walk past the
Yeah.
people playing Magic the Gathering on the tabletops. It'll be like tabletop card games.
All of a sudden, it's going to be 5 a.m. and you're going to have no idea.
Yeah.
And you've somehow spent all your money.
It's gonna be great.
Bring in your own watch is
They
what I'm
just
saying.
need they just need a hotel, and then we're.
But this
right?
thing, it's got a 200-seat purpose-built esports arena.
cool.
So John was just telling us how they're going to integrate with the Melbourne Esports Open, which is going to be huge. That there's so much potential there. Nothing is obviously signed off yet, but there's so much potential to have like pre-game entertainment or little side matches. It's going to be really big for Melbourne, I think.
I'm excited. I can't wait to get involved in some sort of Super Smash Brothers tournament if they ever have that down there, because I do feel like it'll be largely Dota, League of Legends, but they're going to accommodate for a lot of different types of
It
games.
sounds like they
sound of it.
will, and it's not just going to be, you've got to be a competitive gamer to go here. No, you can take your workmates down for a drink at the bar after work and play some games.
Well, it actually interests me a lot because we talked about this last week as well. Like Dota and those sort of games, like I know they're huge, but they're not really my thing. But whereas if I go to this place, like you were saying, a bunch of mates after work, and you can see a Rocket League tournament going down or a Super Smash Bros thing, like that interests me. I'll get in on a Street Fighter tournament as well.
That's like there's this really big arcade game which I think is called Black Killer Queen or something along those lines, which was supposed to be really big in arcades. Killer Queen Black, I apologise, which was huge in arcades in the States because it was a 5v5 setup, and you'd have 2 consoles back to back, and you had to compete against another team. But they released it on the Switch. But of course, I want to play with friends, not random. So I've never gotten into it. But I am keen to see if they've got some of that cool retro stuff in there too.
Totally.
I reckon it's going to look awesome. Now, during the week, we got a really good look. I mean, Cyberpunk is dominating the news as it always is. I feel like there's a new news story on.
And it's still it's still a year away.
Why do they tease us?
Anything to do with CD Projekt Red, and you know that we're going to be all in on it, which is why we got this 15 minutes of brand new gameplay. Now, I'm going to be honest. I refused to watch this because...
You know what? They do have a spoiler warning just at the start, so I don't blame you for not watching it all. I didn't want to watch it all, but I kind of got dragged in a bit because I really am keen for this game. I loved The Witcher, so I was really hoping to get a good look of where this is going.
You do to a degree, but
it is nothing like The Witcher.
No, they've gone... I watched the first 3 or 4 minutes until we got that spoiler warning, and I thought, even though they've said they're going to cut around the story elements, I want to go into it knowing as little as possible. So I stopped watching. It does look good. I mean, the graphics are great. Definitely toned down from the
original stuff we saw.
Yeah. I know that they said that was going to happen.
I think we all expected it.
It does look like a really beautiful, expansive world. Obviously, very much driven by the choices that you make and the quests you want to jump on board with.
This whole thing that we're looking at now, it's like you're inside this database, this world. It's a computer world, which is I didn't think they would have this sort of element to it. I thought it was going to be pretty straightforward. You're on the street and everything is interactive.
Well, one thing they allude to is that Keanu's character, that silver-armed cyborg thing, he's actually more of part of the AI that follows you. Yeah, exactly, which I wasn't expecting at all, but obviously that's how they're going to be.
So Keanu has a massive part in this game. He's a part of you, basically. And you can choose... Well, you can choose to embrace this or not, is what they tell us.
I've always wanted Keanu inside of me, so this is going to be great. What?
Totally innocent.
I thought it was a fair comment.
Look, I think I am surprised at how scaled down the graphics seem in this trailer. I know it's not the full 4K version that you can get online, and it does look good in parts, but I think when they get a bit close up to some of the character models, it still looks a bit rough. Obviously, they've got a year to polish this game, and it's going to be super expansive. So I am expecting small... not glitches, but areas where it's not as polished. Yeah. But they've got another year to go. I'm pretty confident CD Projekt Red are going to have this one sorted. Yeah. In terms of other big announcements, now I don't think there were any bigger during the week than the confirmation that Untitled Goose Game
Huge!
is getting a September 20 release date.
That is so close.
I could not be more excited.
Me too, man. I remember we did an episode where a bunch of games got announced, and this was on a list, and it just stuck. I hadn't even seen the footage. I was like, whatever a game called Untitled Goose Project or game is, I need to play that. And I didn't realize it actually would look good. This looks so much fun.
And it's only 16 sleeps away.
Look at this smart goose. He's moving this the fertilizer, and he's so clever.
He's going to be pesky. It'll be like 20 hours of you just annoying people in the town, which is excellent. I think it's really going to do well. There's something about this game. You just know that people are going to download it just to give it a go. It's got such a buzz about it before it's come out. And I think because the release date is so close, when they actually announced the release date, we only have to wait a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's fresh in your mind.
It's going to do well.
Perfect. I love that they didn't change the name.
Yeah.
It's actually called Untitled Goose Game.
I would just like to point out that Jeff is never actively watching the video game. He's always just like glazed over. He doesn't actually think about it. But he is watching this intently, thinking, I could be a really annoying goose for a couple of hours. Let's see what this video game thing's all about. My God.
You could compare it to games like Goat Simulator, but that's very sandbox. This looks like it's almost more realistic.
Well, every day you've got a to-do list. I don't want to call it realistic, but because I don't know too many geese that go around, annoying people and stealing their carrots and all the rest.
I think the puzzle elements of it look fun. Like it looks like a perfect game. Did you say it was on Switch?
It is on Switch.
Yeah, it's a perfect Switch game.
Yeah,
like playing this on the train.
We've definitely got to get together and play this when it comes out.
Yeah, look at him. Clever goose.
in the new gameplay we saw this week, when they announced the September 20 release date, we did see a couple more things with, like, using a walkie-talkie to distract someone, and at one point the goose even kills a man.
Yeah, I think he gives him a heart attack in some way, shape, or form, which isn't great.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not saying he's a murderer,
Well,
but
he
he's
just went,
certainly
"Meh."
inducing murder.
And then he died.
I think it looks so funny. Jeff is really keen on that to-do list, and
I like this to-do list. It was make groundskeeper wear a hat. You know,
Scratch
that might
that
be the
off.
hat. That might be the hat that he's.
Nah,
taking.
he's wearing a
What is
hat.
that? Oh, what is that?
that looks like
Oh,
a
it's
jar of jam or
or
something.
He got some jam.
Anyway,
Oh,
look.
no, this looks great.
We
Okay.
could watch this all day. Jeff, I'll send you a link afterwards, okay?
I want to see more of this.
That's coming out in a couple of weeks, but we have been playing a couple of video games right now, a few new releases during the week. Fish, you spent, 9 hours smashing through a game called Man of Medan?
Yes. I had a mate around on the weekend, and all we do is play horror games. So this is from the makers of Until Dawn, which came out a couple of years ago. Basically, an interactive movie, bit of a choose your own adventure sort of situation. So all your choices make the difference in where the ending of the game will go. So it's probably a game you can get through in about 4 or 5 hours, but it really comes into its own when you do the replayability, when you replay it.
Yep.
Because then you start being like, oh, should I? As you can see here, there's 2 different ways. Like, you want to be emotional, you want to be rational, you want to, you can like boost relationships with other characters,
And your choices affect the story.
absolutely everything matters. And it's kind of cool going back and being, because like you sort of play it through, and actually we got quite lucky and all our characters survived in the first round. I don't know how we did it, but then going back, we were like, let's just try and kill off a couple of people. Like,
As you do.
Let's just be stupid and do things. But there's little, like the smallest little thing can affect stuff. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as Until Dawn. The story in this one is there's like a ghost ship, and you're going on there, and all the crew went nuts back in the World War II sort of era, and it's just been floating out in the middle of nowhere. And these guys come across it, and creepy stuff starts happening, and it's trying to figure out what's going on. It's a bit slow to start with, and sometimes, like, it looks great, like it looks very cinematic and stuff, but sometimes it's very like, remember in Red Dead how like everything moved good, but control wise it felt a bit clunky?
Yep.
It's very similar to that.
Okay.
But once you get through all the rubbish at the start, where it's like any horror movie, there's the slow stuff where you get to know your characters, and then the horror just starts coming. So once it gets into it, it's really good. But the cool thing about this is it's a part of a chronology, I guess, called the Dark Pictures.
Okay. I have no idea what that is. What's the Dark Pictures?
So basically this is the first episode of what is now going to be basically horror games like this.
Okay.
They're not based in, I don't know if they're based in the same world or whatever, but they're all different stories. So there's a new one coming out called Little Hope. That looks like it might be about witches and stuff.
Can I ask just how much actual gameplay is there in this thing?
It's mainly just walking around like this.
Okay.
It's a lot of cutscenes. It's a movie. Like, you don't. It's a lot of quick time events, that sort of situation. So it's not like playing God of War or something like that. It's very much made to be a cinematic adventure, which I really dig. Obviously I love movies, and horror movies. So this is my sort of thing. And this is actually really good to play with a friend as well, because there's 5 characters that you jump between, and basically you could play with 5 players if you want to. You just pass the control around, but it actually sets it up like it's like, oh, now it's Santo's turn, now it's Jules's turn. And then it gives you a bit of a score at the end if you were an emotional person, or if you were like one looking for clues.
Just like China.
Yeah.
China.
So look, it was fun.
That was good, Jeff. Come on. That was a great one.
Good, but guess who's at the front door now?
I don't know. Who's at the front door? Oh, China.
China.
Oh, I thought I'd insulted an Asian person who came to, deliver us more Moondog beer. Anyway.
Nice work.
Look, it's a fun game. It's something you can smash out in a weekend. It's only $50 to buy, so I think it's worth the money. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5.
3.5, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. So a good play, not necessarily a should play,
No.
but if you're into that sort of game, I mean, give it a go.
You got to be into it. Like, this would be really slow for somebody who's looking to play a video game. If you know what I mean. So yeah, it was a good weekend.
I absolutely love it. Before we go any further, Jules, do you want to run us through a few of our Facebook comments? Matt is very keen on the Goose Game, and I 100% agree, Matt. I think everyone in this room is buying that. They're just gonna do so much in terms of sales. I feel like it might be the top selling game on the Switch on the day it comes out. But we'll see what happens with that one. And also,
what's with the Ninja Turtles? You guys just need to sort out your Ninja Turtle war.
What?
Oh, good to see the best Ninja Turtle. Oh, well, it's just Leonardo.
It's Leo.
Don't worry about it. Just basically reading the comments, everyone is super excited for the Goose Game, which is really, that's all we wanted to take away from this.
Goose.
Now, I mean, you were playing a horror game. I went a different direction this week. A little game called Astral Chain from the developers of games like Bayonetta, of course, Platinum Games, has come out this week on the Switch. It came out on Friday. Guess where I racked this gameplay footage from? Game Informer. Apologies to you, Game Informer. I didn't have time to save my own video. I'm about a couple of hours into this one, and it is exactly what you'd expect from a Platinum game in terms of very heavy on the action. It's similar to Bayonetta, that depending on how well you go in combat, mainly how little damage you take and how quickly you defeat the enemies, you will get a score at the end of it. And the real interesting thing about this gameplay is that you are attached to a demonic monster that essentially becomes your buddy. So there are these horrific monsters that you can see fighting right now. When they come into the real world, you can actually capture one of 5 of them. There are five different types almost. And then they help you out in battle. So if you can see that chain that's linked to his wrist, he's got one, the Sword Legion right now, and you can do different things. So you control that one in a slightly different way. You can wrap up your enemies, you can do different combos, you can send them in and fly yourself to them. It's actually quite complex, and it's not the most intuitive game to start.
It looks complex.
Yes, it's...
Well, actually, I think this looks button mashy, but
it's actually not.
Which is good, because I do like this type of game if there's options, like it sounds like you're saying.
Exactly. So you've got a couple of different ways that you can control your Legion. I've just unlocked my second one, so I'm really not that far into the game. And I'm hoping it provides... That's where the gameplay variety is going to come from, because it is very much wail on an opponent, understand their pattern so you know when to dodge. If you dodge at the right time, you get sort of like that slowdown effect, which gives you more opportunities to attack them. Send in your Legion. The Legion can only be used for a certain amount of time, so you've got to monitor that as well. The big issue is that unlike games similar to Spider-Man, where you can be in the middle of an attack pattern, and if you realise someone's going to have a go at you and you hit the dodge button, you just dodge immediately. No matter what you were doing, it's all reaction. Yep. Whereas in this, if you haven't stopped your attack, he finishes that, which can really throw you off. So you got to know which enemy you're up against.
Time it out and stuff. Like
exactly. So, as I said, pretty new to us. I do really like the story. I think Platinum Games has done well, and they do build out the actual world really well. You're a police officer, you're a brother and sister, your father is the head of the police force, you get roped into this new Legion unit, effectively, and your dad gets trapped in this underworld that we're seeing right now, and it's basically on you and your sister to save the day. I do like it. It is supremely Japanese. If you're not a fan of Japanese action games, you're probably not going to like this, but I've really enjoyed it from the start. I've come up against a couple of cool bosses. They're tough. I go anywhere between getting an S+ ranking, which is the absolute best, to a D, which is the absolute worst. I don't know what I'm doing differently. I'm still trying to work it out. The game doesn't explain bits and pieces to you, so you just got to work it out in combat. Yeah, okay. And look, that's part of the fun, I suppose. I am really enjoying it. I'm only a couple of hours in. I look forward to playing the rest of it. But yeah, it's just one of those games which I think if you're an action fan, it's a great buy, and it's getting great reviews online. But I just don't know if I can recommend it just yet because it's still relatively new.
Right on.
Are there difficulty settings?
There are difficulty settings. There's casual, and there's one easier than that. I'm on the one above, like the highest one that's unlockable, like a medium, effectively. Yeah. And I think once you beat the game, you unlock the hard mode, which I'm certainly not going to play because clearly I can't even beat the medium mode without taking a few bruises in that way, shape, or form. But look, it's good for what it is. I really like Bayonetta, and I think this is a great stopgap between now and Bayonetta 3, which hopefully comes out next year on the Switch, guys.
Adam's just recommended us a game.
Yeah.
He says he's been playing Remnant from the Ashes, and to sum it up, it's basically Dark Souls with guns.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he says, as a huge fan of the Dark Souls series, I was so excited for this game, and it did not disappoint. The gameplay was smooth, and the difficulty was right. It wasn't as hard as the Souls series, but this worked in my favour, as the great thing about this game was it was cooperative. And he had a friend to play with him, and who had never played Dark Souls before, and he's given it a 4 out of 5. I've never even heard of this game.
No, Remnant from the Ashes. I'm going to look that up right now, but thank you so much for your quick review in comments.
Oh, and then he's chucked in, honestly, one of the best games I've played all year, and the replayability is incredible.
It does look cool.
Big old review there, boy.
Anyway, we'll get on to Remnant from the Ashes.
Oh, it only came out last month.
Yeah, it's a relatively new game. It's got 9 out of 10 on Steam, 76% Metacritic, 8 out of 10 on IGN, so clearly it's getting some...
Thank you for the recommendation.
And we had no idea. Who says we're really into our video games? Look...
Doing the panel.
Who? Yeah, do you want to come and join the panel? My God, Adam.
Just quickly, can I mention what I've been playing this week?
Yeah, go for it.
I've been playing SteamWorld Dig 2.
Oh, yeah.
It is so fun.
It's great.
And it's so much bigger than the first one, but it's so different as well. And I'll probably review it, I think.
It's a great game.
I know it's old. It's like 2 years old, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So.
It's genuinely excellent. I would recommend SteamWorld Dig to anyone who hasn't played the series before. 2 is... I think it's better than 1, but I still enjoyed 1 more because I had no idea what it was. I got it at a cheap price, and I was really just enthralled with the mechanic of digging down. And once the second one came out, obviously a lot of things had been streamlined, and it's probably...
Second one, there's not as much digging down as more... There's digging sideways.
Yes.
And
I appreciated the digging down because, you don't know what's going to be down. I feel like sideways you're safe, but down, there's mysteries down there. It's dark.
I feel like I'm missing out. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's on Switch.
There we go.
So
once you get through Final Fantasy VIII, you can buy SteamWorld Dig 2.
Yes.
It's quite often on special, so wait for it to pop up around Christmas time.
I think it was on special. I just bought it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Oh, might have been.
Before we wrap up tonight's show, we have... look, it's going to be one of the biggest videos of the year, in my opinion. The Nintendo Direct for September launches at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And when I say launches, I mean goes live. 40 minutes of new announcements. This is why I love Nintendo.
They'll probably do it on time as well.
Yeah, not like us, where we rock up 10 minutes late and have technical difficulties while we're streaming live because I'm an idiot. But you know what?
No.
As upset as I am that I stuffed it up at the beginning, I only stuffed it up because I was adding in video of the Untitled Goose Game. So really...
It's important.
Perfect.
Needed to happen,
No
right?
problem.
It makes the episode.
Unfortunately, look, even if the Direct tomorrow was just 40 minutes of Untitled Goose Game, I think I'd be okay with
I'd be
that.
absolutely fine with that.
I mean, Cyberpunk keeps throwing out like 45 minutes, 15 minutes of gameplay. I just need the Goose
Give me
Game.
more
man.
Goose.
Well, look, I wanted to quickly ask, what are you guys expecting out of this Nintendo Direct? They're pretty good with giving us some big announcements in September. I think last year we got an announcement of Doom as well as... what's the other one that's made by the same guys? Set in the Nazi era? Wolfenstein. We got a Wolfenstein announcement as well. So is there anything in particular that's quite big? We have a couple of games which we know we're going to see. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion is a big one. That comes out October 31st.
I'm so excited about that.
That was playable at the eSports Open.
I know, and there are so many videos of this game popping up online, which I'm just avoiding like the plague, because as soon as it was announced, I'm like, I'm buying this game.
You don't need any of it.
Don't need to see a frame.
Yeah.
You just need to tell me what the title is, and I'm going to buy this thing. So I was really... I'm not disappointed, because I understand they've got to sell it, but I just keep seeing like one frame pop up on YouTube, like, oh, a new gameplay. I'm like, don't need it. Don't worry about it. Don't want to look at it. Just give it to me on October 31st. I think that's what
I would love a new Banjo game.
Well, speaking of Banjo, the reveal for him in Smash Brothers obviously caused quite a stir. We know that he's coming, I reckon, within a week of this Direct going live. They did the same thing with Hero from Dragon Quest. And there's been a whole lot of advertisement material in 7-Elevens in Japan that have basically said he's coming out in the next 2 weeks because the poster's only supposed to run until the 15th of September and it has him being out. So I reckon we can expect to see him very soon. And if Microsoft is smart, if they want to capitalize on this, I can see them re-releasing the Banjo-Kazooie from Nintendo 64 on the Switch.
I would be stoked with that, actually.
Love that.
I actually heard a couple of other guys talking about this. How much would you be willing to pay when you consider the fact that Rare Replay came out with like 10 games? It was $50 or whatever it was, and Banjo-Kazooie as well as Banjo-Tooie were on that. What do you think is a fair price?
$30.
$30.
For both of them.
Or for 1 and 2, yeah, I'd say.
Yeah,
I would love
Throw
to
in
say
the
10.
nuts and bolts.
I'd
You know
pay,
what? They
I'd
just-
pay $30 for 2, but I wouldn't be happy about paying $30 for 2.
They just put out all the Dooms 1, 2, and 3 on Switch, and they're only like from $7 to $14.
Yeah, but they're older. That's like NES games.
No,
I
Doom.
reckon you're
What are
probably
you talking about,
looking-
Doom? The original Doom is
No,
old
Doom
ass.
3 was on it. Doom 3 is like on Mars full 3D graphics.
No.
Are they're also talking about re-releasing Doom 64. I think that's coming soon as well. But I don't know. I reckon you're probably going to look at $20, $20 to $30.
Look, $20.
Hey, this is if it's even coming.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we don't.
I want a new one. I want a new game.
You know
To be
what was
honest, I'm just
terrible?
happy with this.
Nuts and
Just
bolts.
give me this.
Did
I'm
you
happy.
play Nuts and Bolts?
No, I
Intrusive?
didn't.
It's just I didn't play it. It didn't look good.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I'm going to be happy with some Banjo-Kazooie action. I'm really stoked to know that that's going to be releasing for Smash Brothers in the next week. You can bet your ass I'm going to be playing that like crazy this weekend. Hopefully it comes out beforehand. That'd be great if they shadow drop him. There's also a lot of rumour that the next Smash Brothers character is going to be announced. There was a bit of a stuff up on Nintendo UK's website during the week that indicated the fourth character would be from SNK. If you don't know who SNK is, they are a developer from Japan who are very popular for
Fatal Fury. Oh, okay.
which apparently is going to be Terry Bogard. Are you happy with that?
Yes.
Because see, I don't know anything about
cool.
Fatal Fury.
He's
I
the guy
genuinely,
with the hat.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God.
And the blonde hair.
the guy with the hat.
He's basically Ryu with a hat.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm a bit disappointed, because you know we're four characters into the 5 DLC. We've already had 2 dudes and a bear essentially, and I feel like we're getting another dude. I think it would have been cool if it was like Mai from Fatal Fury, but she unfortunately is probably not dressed appropriately for Super Smash Brothers. Or I would really like to see like a duo, like a tag team, the 2 Metal Slug guys.
Oh yeah.
Similar to Ice Climbers, I reckon.
That would fit Smash Bros so well.
I know.
Yeah, like Ice Climbers.
I think that would be
man.
more interesting to have another duo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if
Like-
it is Terry Bogard, I get it.
Like I'm kind of I like those games. I played them a lot when I was a kid, and I always played as Terry Bogard, so that excites me. But like, I don't really need him in a Smash Bros game. Like you've got Ryu, Cloud's already in there. You know, those are my big ones. So
Get past Final Fantasy.
no, never.
You care at all, Julesy?
I'm trying to think outside the box. I mean, if they've got Rare on board and they've given us Banjo, what's to say they won't give us someone like Conker?
Yeah, I know, but I feel like it's going to be there'll be one per company. They've been pretty straight out saying that these characters were decided by the Nintendo executives. I think they're using it to build relationships, which is why we had
so smart of
Joker
them
from
too.
Persona, which is why we get this Dragon Quest character in there, because they wanted 11 on the Switch. Obviously, they want to do stuff with Microsoft. We've had Ori and the Blind Forest announced, as well as Cuphead coming from Microsoft. So that's unheard of, really. But I'm just a bit not concerned, but I'm happy that this leaked, because if this was just revealed and it was Terry Bogard, I'd be like, who the hell is Terry Bogard? This is pissing me off. I was expecting another
feeling that way
big
right now,
character.
to be honest.
After all the like rumors that it would be somebody like Master Chief or someone cool, I'd be a little bit disappointed. Outside of that, look, Pokemon's going to get a run, probably. In fact, they've definitely said Pokemon's getting a run. Apparently, there's one more game that they're going to announce. I personally am expecting a little bit more of Animal Crossing, although I don't think it's... Because it's not releasing until May next year, I don't think we're going to get a lot. And I don't know what else. Is there anything you are looking out for or you're expecting?
Well, I always want Zelda at a Nintendo Direct. Do you think
Well,
we're going to get any more about...
We
Breath
have
of the Wild
we
2?
have links. Oh my god! Well, speaking of that, I'm going to have to come back to this Animal Crossing footage, because I just wanted to watch this again. This excellent trailer that we got for Breath of the Wild sequel. I'm pumped for this game. Again, it's not coming out till the end of the year, so I don't. Oh, well, at least the end of next year.
Yeah, we don't actually know when.
Yeah, so I'm not foreseeing this getting another run. I think they'll focus
necessarily.
on Link's Awakening, because
of course.
that remake
Yeah,
comes out in a
yeah.
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I do think we get a game announcement. Whether it's a big time game, I'm not sure. We know that Nintendo posted that tweet of Mario eating a chunk of watermelon, and everyone thought it might be a reference to like a Super Mario Sunshine remake. coming out, which I would be all over. I love that game.
Yeah.
Or potentially DLC or something brand new, a new Super Mario Odyssey game. So I'd be all for that. I personally still reckon we don't see... scary. I don't think we see Pikmin. I know that there's a lot of rumours about that, but I don't think that's coming back. And I also don't reckon we see Metroid Prime trilogy, which until Metroid Prime 4 gets a little bit closer, apparently the work on the trilogy is done, but until they're ready to release 4, I don't see them trying to build hype for Metroid with the other games until that gets a little bit closer. Anything else you want to...
Not that much.
Did you want to make some outlandish prediction? I mean, we're only 10 hours out.
Some outlandish prediction. Okay, a Nintendo 64 emulator.
Well, I reckon that we're going to get the SNES games. So at least there'll be something added to that whole online Netflix that they've got going. Dave, anything? What would you like?
Look, back on Zelda, they might give us the name of the new game.
I'd be happy with that.
That's all they need.
It's a bit more realistic.
Yeah,
It's sort of like Luigi's Mansion 3. Just mention it and I'll just be big at the front. Oh my God,
And yes, Matt, you do need a Switch.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a Switch?
Yeah,
Come on.
they might even have some hardware announcements too.
Well, given they've got the Switch Lite coming out this month, I think they'll probably focus pretty heavily on that. I don't... You want more
You need a
Goose?
Switch.
No, what do I need?
Oh, you need one of these, yeah. So,
Yes.
Jeff, if you want to play this... or I'm pretty sure you might be able to get it online. Do you want to just double-check that for Jeff? You might not even need to buy a new laptop. Look, I'm pretty keen.
It's Mac compatible.
It's on Mac.
Oh, right.
I don't think it'll run on that old
We're just going
Mac
to rock
that
up
you've got.
to do our podcast, and then Jeff's just going to be like, "Sorry guys, I'm using the computer."
Yeah.
Jeff, stop goosing around.
I personally reckon that... I don't know what we get in terms of surprises. I would love for it to be that Super Mario Sunshine remake or even just DLC. We thought that was going to come for Odyssey, and it's been 2 years since that game came
Has there
out.
not been any DLC for it yet?
No.
Where?
Not a single... They announced and released the Balloon Run stuff,
Yeah.
which was good. I really did enjoy that. It was a good way to farm coins, but generally speaking, no.
Yeah, right.
It's been just basic updates.
Well, it might be then. That's probably a pretty high percentage that
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
I would love to stream my reaction to it live. Unfortunately, I've got to be at work at 6 a.m. tomorrow, so isn't that a downer? And just before we go, there's a couple of other big games coming out in the next week, Jules.
This month is actually pretty big for gaming. So, I mean, we've already had Astral Chain,
Yep.
which you're loving. We've got Gears of War 5 coming out in 6 days on September 10. Dave Bautista is a playable character. They fully 3D modeled him.
That's
Insane.
bizarre.
That's awesome.
We've got Borderlands 3 coming out on September 13.
Which is 1 week, a little bit more than 1 week from today.
Yep. Of course, we've got Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening remaster or remake, and yeah,
The big one.
Hold on.
Untitled Goose Game again.
Hold on. Is it coming out on the same day as the Zelda game?
yeah. So
It is.
Oh, the war is on!
you got to pick.
Can we have a quick poll on Facebook? What are you playing first?
What are you more
Untitled Goose
excited
Yes,
Game?
we need to follow
doing
that
it now.
because I am playing Goose. I can tell you that much.
I think I would as well.
Yeah.
Like Zelda, as great as Zelda is, that game's come out before. You don't get to run around as a goose.
How much is Goose Game going to be?
Have they got a price? Can we
I'm
search?
going to look it up.
All right.
Let's see what it is on Steam.
While you do that, I'll thank everybody. Thank you for watching today's show. Sorry we were a little bit late. We do apologise for the technical difficulties at the beginning of the program, but I think it's come together quite well, you know. We got to watch about 10 minutes of Goose-related footage, which is always a
That's
positive.
absolutely fine.
So every
And-
time we screw up, we'll just show the Goose footage. Everybody's happy.
It's going to be a big week in gaming, so I hope you've got plenty of dollary dues to spend in whichever way you want, because obviously Borderlands is going to be the big one for people going into next week. I'll be surprised if Gears 5 does particularly well. I feel like that franchise has lost a lot of its cachet, but maybe that's just me.
It's very niche to Xbox, isn't it?
Yeah.
But of course, it's releasing on Windows and stuff, so it might do well. Good news for Astral Chain is that it's #1 in the UK charts. First time a Platinum game has ever done that.
Wow.
And we can only reference the UK numbers because they're the only ones who are transparent enough about...
Just quickly about the Goose Game.
all right, go for it.
Its description on Steam. There's no price yet
What?
on Steam. I have my Switch here. I'll check the price later. But it says featuring A horrible goose, in brackets, that's you. A town full of people just trying to get on with the day, in brackets, you hate them. And a dedicated honk button.
Well, yeah.
Perfect.
Love it.
In
Just
brackets,
sold.
exclamation marks.
I'm sold.
Just so you know, according to Polygon, the Untitled Goose Game will cost $15 at launch for a special limited time launch sale.
Is that US?
There you can go.
Pre-sale.
There you go. Actually, yeah, that is US, so it'll be a little bit more expensive for us, or $20 at full price.
Wow.
Worth it.
I will be getting it at midnight and playing it all the way through.
So it's not cheap. That'll be a $30 game down here.
Yeah. I paid
Genius.
$30 for that.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. It's going to be a big week because if we do get Banjo-Kazooie for $30 as well, I'm going to be throwing just money at stuff I know I'm not going to be able to play for another couple of months.
Patrick asks on YouTube, any news on Half-Life 3? The answer is no. And will we ever know? Probably not.
There's never any news on
I
Half-Life 3.
wish, Patrick. I wish.
It'll be a big episode the day that we get some information about Half-Life 3.
I've just literally typed in that and popped in news
top
on Google,
article.
and the top article is, you should give up on Half-Life 3.
Sorry, Patrick. We wish.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. For everyone who left a comment, we love you getting involved. Julian, Dave, thanks as always.
Thank you.
By the way, bitchin' tops this week. I really feel like I've let down the team. You got 64.
Yeah,
you
what
got
game
Jaws.
is that?
This is from my life. It's basically it's from The Sims.
The Sims, yeah.
Virtual reality. Look, we really enjoy you sticking around with us for our show. Hopefully you laughed along with us, particularly at the Goose like Jeff did. Thank you again for watching, and good night.